Whether you're interested in a new boyfriend, job, social circle, or business connection, knowing how to talk to someone and be genuine while still being likable and charming is an absolute must. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to converse with anyone and still be yourself. My name is Zoe Robertson. Let's get learning. You're going to hate me for this first one, but it has to be said, when it comes to making conversation, practice does make perfect. You need exposure therapy. However, what I will say is talk to someone where you feel like the stakes are lower. If you feel more comfortable talking to people you know, talk to people you know. If you feel more comfortable talking to people you don't know, talk to people you don't know. I would even say talk to a gender you're not attracted to or people you know like are married, whatever, so you don't even feel the need to be perfect in case they're your soulmate or whatever. And same with, obviously, if you are learning this because you want to make business connections, talk to people outside of your industry. Like, don't be in conversation with stakes at all. And here is my number one tip, and I'm gonna give it to you straight up in the beginning of the video. When it comes to making conversation, whether you're practicing, you're in it, you're on a date, you're in a job interview, whatever the situation is, focus on the other person. Do not focus on your own ego or insecurities. Whether you're thinking about yourself in a positive way or a negative way, that is distracting from the purpose of the conversation, which is to sort of escape into another person and to get to know that other person. You're not supposed to be in a conversation to feed your own ego. When you're in a conversation, it's not about you, it's about the other person. It's about making them feel heard, making them feel seen, getting to know them. Even if you're in a job interview, talking about yourself, guess what? If you're in a job interview, they already think you're qualified. They want to know that you're a good person to be around, a good addition to the office. So yes, say positive things about yourself, but also realize that what is going to help you at the job is if the person likes you. And people like people who make them feel good about themselves, who make them feel seen and heard, who make them feel like they're winners in a way, so that they leave with a good impression. It's like the quote, people don't always remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. Same when it comes to romantic success. People when they date someone who makes them feel like the coolest person ever, who makes them feel beautiful, handsome, funny, to laugh at people's jokes. People like people who laugh at their jokes. I always say that I don't like people who don't laugh at my jokes because I feel like they have no humor, you know? If you want people to feel like you're charming, you gotta make them feel charming. If you want them to think you're funny, you gotta make them feel funny. That's literally how you do it. That's the secret. And do you think you can be funny or charming when you're thinking about your damn hair? You can't. And also, I've talked about this before, it helps me a lot. Go into the conversation with a goal. The goal can absolutely be to get someone's number, it can be to get a job, but it can also be to find out more about the person, whether it's something specific or just in general, to make the person laugh, to make them feel seen, to brighten up their day. There's so many different goals you can have, but it is smart to have a goal. It just helps you keep the conversation focused, and it gives you something to focus on and takes focus away from, oh, did they think I'm cool? Oh, how do my pants look? Did I remember to zip up? You know, like it gives you something logical to think about, and it helps you guide the next step in the conversation continuously. Also, hype yourself up beforehand and visualize if that makes sense for the situation. I've said this before. Visualizing is scientifically proven to help because your brain doesn't know the difference between you doing something and you envisioning yourself doing something. So if you're visualizing being in a job interview, then you go into a job interview, your brain thinks, oh, we've done this before and we got the job, so we should get the job this time too, right? Same with a date or whatever. Also, hype yourself up. I like hyping myself up. I like being like, you're the boss, Zoe, you got this, you know? This job interview, easy peasy mac and cheesy. I mean, it's Zoe Robertson. Just whatever you feel like saying to yourself, say that to yourself. I'm always like, would Patrick Bateman say this? If so, I'm doing it.
No, just cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
But also, not only visualize and hype yourself up, when it comes to things like job interviews, for example, practice. I like grill people I love before their job interviews, and I expect them to do the same with me, and I'll do it for myself too. I'll be like in the shower preparing for a job interview, and I'll be like, so what's my greatest weakness? What's my greatest strength? What did I learn from my previous position? Blah, 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 blah. I will literally talk out loud, practice a job interview, get the right answers, try to put myself in a position of that person who's hiring and think, what do they look for? What do they want to hear from me? What can I offer up? Which is fun, helps me relax, and also helps me be more prepared. And I will say basically everyone I've helped prepare for a job interview has said like, hey Zoe, your questions did come up. I'm like, yeah, because I dug deep and I want you to get the job. Practicing for a situation like that really helps. And if you struggle with certain social things, I absolutely think you should practice some date questions as well. Like, some topics, some anecdotes. I'd like learn them as in a script, but think like, okay, if the conversation is at a lull, what can I talk about? I do this when I'm streaming. Some periods of time I'm streaming for hours a day, and it's a little bit hard to like find like just blah 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 for hours a day. So I think like, okay, I can talk about some shows I watch, some movies I watch, what I'm doing next week, like have some talking points. Also, appearance matters. Not just because people judge you by your appearance, although they do, but also because it's about how you feel yourself. So if you feel better with your hair straightened, straighten your hair. If you feel better with makeup, wear makeup. If you feel better without makeup, don't wear makeup. So think like 50% about what makes you feel good and 50% about the social conventions, because
we live in a society.
Because yeah, I feel good in these pajama pants, but I wouldn't wear them to a job interview because I wouldn't get the job. So it's like, suck it up. Then you have to wear suit pants. You can wear the suit pants that you want to wear, you know? Sorry, it's probably dress pants, isn't it? Also, if you are practicing conversation, if you're at a party, if you're at a function, if you're on a date, don't get drunk. Why? Because drunk people, no matter how they might feel about themselves, aren't charming. They're just not. Unless you're drunk, a drunk person is not charming. Am I gonna sit here and be like, oh, I have never gotten drunk? No, that would be a lie. I've been drunk on dates, I've been drunk at parties, but have I been my best? No, because you're not your best when you're drunk. And if you're literally practicing the art of conversation and the art of being charming and raising people up, having charisma, you cannot be drunk. You just can't. You can be a little tipsy. You can have a drink to relax. You can't be drunk because you're going to be sloppy and embarrassing, and you're going to feel even worse about yourself. I will say I'm a pretty confident person, but when I wake up after having been on a night out, I get anxiety. I'm like, oh, what did I do? What did I say? Oh, I did that. Oh, and if I were like working on getting back into society or whatever, working on like getting more confident socially, and I woke up the way I do after drinking, going over, oh, I said that, oh, that's funny, oh, I danced on the table, oh, I would be so scared to go out again. So don't put yourself in that position. Don't sabotage yourself. And here are just a few rules. When you meet someone, situations aside, there are no situations where this is different. Smile, look into their eyes, state your name, ask for their name. Well, we're gonna get back to names later. Especially in a job interview or at a smaller function, like at a pre-party, for example, shake everyone's hand. And as soon as you can, work in these 3 things. A, finding out their name. B, giving them a compliment. And C, a small joke, just to make everyone relax more. This is also a very important rule, and this goes hand in hand with not being drunk. Don't be creepy with words or touch. If you're on a date and you're flirting and it's going well, obviously then incorporate touch, but don't walk up to someone and touch them. It's not going to end well. Also, something you should do as quickly as possible in a conversation is to find common ground, because that's just a great thing to go back to, you know? For example, like when I'm on a date with someone, I like to figure out what kind of things they watch, what kind of movies they watch, what kind of TV shows they watch, and hopefully we have something in common so that if like it's a little bit dull, I can be like, oh, by the way, did you see that movie? Because I'll mention a movie that's like closely related to a movie they like, and hopefully they've seen it, we can talk about the movie, or I'm gonna be like, oh my god, you'll totally love it because it's like blah 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 based on this movie, you know? Which isn't something you necessarily do on purpose, it's just a general part of conversation, but it's just really good to remember that like finding common ground will really help you later on in the conversation, because you'll just always have something to go back to and you can just expand on it. And another thing that really helps that is similar to this, and that goes back to the overall mission, is to find something about that person that you find interesting / that you know a little bit about or want to know more about. So there are the 2 different ways. Asking questions out of knowledge, asking questions out of curiosity, both work, but both have to be genuine. So you have to find something about the person that you genuinely find really cool and interesting, whether it's a hobby, whether it's a job, whether it's something in their background, just something you're like, something you find really cool. but don't talk about it too much, because I'm a history major and I don't really like when people talk to me about history, at least not a lot. So be very privy to how the person is talking about it. That's why we also did like find common ground, and you should find as many things as possible that make sense for you to talk about, because talking about one thing too much is just like, ugh, it just isn't that fun, you know, unless a person is like super fixated on that thing. Honestly, if someone wanted to date me, they should talk to me about DC like a lot. Like, I would be totally open for the Archer. If someone wanted to date me and they were like, do you want to watch and talk about every single episode of Archer? I'd be like, yeah, I would. I love that, actually. That would be amazing. Cue me putting in the meme of Mallory Archer. Isn't it obvious?
Isn't it obvious?
But that is specific to me, and a person can notice that when they're talking to me, that I light up if you're talking about like Batman or Archer or Harley Quinn. But on the contrary, you might notice that when we're talking about my history studies, I'm a little like, oh no. So yes, find things, but also continuously look at how the person's reacting, you know? And passion is very charming. Obviously, in the conversation, try to have the conversation as much in the other person as possible, because people feel good when they're talking about themselves. But when you're talking about yourself, talk about something you're genuinely passionate about. The periods of time where you're talking like uninterrupted about yourself, which shouldn't be longer than like 30 seconds. That's like the longest, you know? Should be about things that you're like, I love this. Because people like seeing people light up. It's charming, it's fun, it's like, it makes you fall in love with a person easier when you see them talk about something they're genuinely into. And then obviously after like 15 to 30 seconds, like throw the ball back. And you can come with a follow-up question based on what you said. Like, oh, but yeah, enough about me. What's your favorite show? And if someone compliments you, say thank you. And if applicable, throw a compliment back. People who like don't accept compliments are the worst. It's not humble. It just makes it awkward for the other person. They tried to do something nice and you're denying it. Take a compliment. Even if you disagree, it doesn't even matter. It's just about making the other person feel good because they made you feel good. And I think I said this already, but if someone makes a joke, laugh. Again, also find out a person's name as soon as possible and try to remember it, like use it a little, but don't use it too much. When people use my name too much, most of the time when people use my name actually, but that's also because I worked in sales, I feel like they're trying to trick me, you know? If someone's like, oh, but Zoe, blah, 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 Zoe. Like, if you say Zoe 2 times in a minute, I'm like, they're either trying to sell me something or like sell me on themselves. It makes me think, oh, this person has bad intentions because they're playing like a mind game. So you can use someone's name, but don't use it too much because it's a little, I'm not going to say creepy, but I'm going to say it seems calculated, because it's the whole thing of, oh, when you use someone's name, it makes them trust you more. Like, everyone knows that by now, and especially if someone's worked in sales. So like, don't even. And of course, remember, if you already know the person, always start the conversation with how are you? That being said, I hope you like this, and I hope you feel more confident to go out into the world and chat with people now. And if you need a little extra boost, watch my confidence video. I worked so hard on that. Take care. See you soon. Bye.